Hey everybody, welcome back to another 1991 Honda CRX SI video. Well, this week I'm going to attempt to remove and repair this upper hatch molding. Stay tuned. So one of the things that really needs to be repaired on this car is this upper molding. Now, admittedly, I made this much worse. It wasn't this bad when I first got the car, but I tried to scrape this old vinyl off, tried to melt it off, tried to essentially burn it off with a heat gun. And I guess what I need to do is use some paint stripper on it. But to get it off, I guess I'm told anyway, you just pop this cap off on the side and the molding will slide out. We're about to find out. I've got a very thin blade screwdriver. I'm gonna try to pop this one off and then we'll see about sliding it out. This bottom one, I guess, is the same way, and this one is actually in really good shape, so I'm not gonna do anything with that. But this top one really needs, that just looks terrible. And I do have a piece of vinyl that goes over that. So once I get this removed and cleaned, I'll be putting the vinyl on it. All right, well, I managed to get it off, and sliding it out was not really working out just because I didn't want to have to actually remove the hatch to lift it up. So I found that if I just started to pry up on the molding on the back a little bit, it started to pop off. These clips right here, it's held on by the front, right there, and the back by those. So once I got those off, I actually was able to kind of pull it and slide it. So here's the molding, and I'm going to pick up some paint stripper. I don't think I have any right now, but I'll get some and we'll pick this up again. All right, a bit of an update. It's still the same evening and I haven't gone to the store yet to get the paint stripper, but I decided to work on this a little bit more with some acetone. And the paint stripper I'm not sure is gonna be a good idea. And the reason being is because this has these, really they're all attached, these kind of rubber sweep strips, hi Donovan, that will probably end up melting away if I use the stripper on them. So what I'm doing is I'm just slowly brushing on some acetone, and then it's not fighting me as much. It's kind of just loosening it and allowing me to scrape it off with the razor blade. So that's what I'm doing. And then any kind of residue that's going to be left, I'll end up just probably sanding it smooth. So the goal is just to have a smooth surface to rewrap. So I'm going to keep working on that. You didn't think I was going to leave this dirty, did you? Nope. Gonna clean it. It's exposed and I can see it's dirty, so it's gonna be cleaned. Finish it up. All right, well, I actually think I've got this the best I can get it. It doesn't look great, it's pretty scratched, and there's some very light residue left, but like I said, this has integrated rubber sweep strips on both sides, and so you kind of have to shave up to both of those and do the best you can just to smooth it over. So I ordered this on eBay, and I'll put a link in the description. This is made for this particular part. It's basically just a vinyl wrap that looks like a satin black. And this piece itself isn't in the best shape. There's a couple dings in it. If they were there, I'm not gonna worry about it. They're very tiny, but they'll probably telegraph through. So I have no idea how this is actually gonna look once it's done, but I'm going to give it a shot of wrapping it. And then it's a matter of just putting it back on. So wish me luck. Well, it's about an hour later, and I tried my damnedest to wrap this thing, and it looks like crap. It's just full of bubbles, and I mean, I could probably get the bubbles out. It's not a problem, I guess, but I don't know if I let this tape sit in the heat too long or whatever, but it's got this, the adhesive is all over everything. The adhesive for this is really, really sticky. So I think I'm just gonna peel this off, and you know what? I'm gonna plasti dip this. I know it's gonna look a lot better. And quite frankly, this doesn't even match the sheen of the one down here that I'm not changing. This is actually quite glossy. So this is a matte finish. I guess it wouldn't have been that big of a deal, but I'm gonna peel this off. It'll come right off. It's just full of bubbles. And tomorrow, when the sun's out, I'm going to shoot it with some plasti dip and put it back on. I know it's gonna end up looking better than this. There won't be any bubbles. So stay tuned for that. Well, it's the next day, and you join me here once again in my dedicated paint booth, where I'm going to give this several coats of this Rust-Oleum peel coat, which is like their version of plasti dip. I already had it, and it's a matte black, so we'll see how it matches. But if I don't like the way this turns out, I guess my only other alternative is going to be to peel it off, and that's one benefit of plasti dip or peel coat, easy to peel off. And then I will just probably sand it down really, really well and paint it. But I'd rather not put paint on this, the flexible plastic. This is pretty flexible itself, so cheap and easy, and hopefully we'll give a good result. So let's give it a try. Well, I put several coats of this peel coat on, probably about 10 to be honest. And I do have this glossifier. I know it's a different name brand, but give it a little bit of gloss just to sort of match what's on there. And it's still wet right now. I just sprayed a couple coats of glossifier, so I'm gonna let that dry, and I think that'll really be perfect. And then we'll wait a little bit, get it installed on the car. All right, well, it's actually several days later, and after the plasti dip and the glossifier, I let this kind of dry for several days, and I'm really just not that happy with it. The piece itself is just, it's not in great shape. You can see kind of where the rubber there is gouged, and that's, you know, partially my fault, I guess, but it's just got some scratches in it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this. I've got this rugged coat, which I have left over from a prior Ford Ranger product. I'm going to put a couple coats of that on this and hope that it kind of camouflages some of these little gouges. And I know that from the factory this is meant to be a smooth piece, but the good thing about this peel coat is it does come right off. I'm going to try that and see if I like it. And if I don't, then we'll peel everything off, and I will have no choice but to kind of sand this down and maybe do some body work on it. Try to do a little something different with the edges right there. But I mean, this piece is just never going to be perfect the way it is. So we'll see what we can do with it. Well, with one good coat on here, it definitely helps camouflage all the scratches and imperfections. There's no question about that. The whole thing is just a little rough, kind of like cottage cheese or a popcorn ceiling, but I knew that going in. So I'll let this dry, and this may end up being the solution for now until, you know, if it bugs me, like I said, it's just plasti dip. It'll peel right off, and we'll have to go from there. So let it dry and I'll pop it back on the car. All right, well, with this on the car, I have to say I'm reasonably pleased with the final product. It is not perfect, but this rough texture plasti dip material definitely helps camouflage some of the little nicks and scratches and things like that. So I would say it's definitely presentable, and I'm happy with the results. Considering that most of these you see on pretty much every CRX, they're also in the same condition or worse, or they've been rewrapped. I mean, you know, these cars at 30 plus years old, if they've been in the sun for any amount of time, they're just, this vinyl just never held up. So I can live with this. So I would say that's one more project done. Lots more to do on this 1991 CRX. Drop a comment below and let me know if you have any thoughts or comments. Otherwise, we'll catch you on the flip side.